Hey guys, so today we're talking about narcissistic hoovering very briefly. So let's just jump into it. So the narcissist is trying to suck you back into the relationship. It's the Hoover. It's like the vacuum cleaner. They're trying to re-energize this want and this need for you once again. So it's the recycling and re-idealizing old sources of narcissistic supply that they have discarded um, or the victim has set a boundary or tried to like push themselves away from the narcissist in some way, shape, or form. And so what the narcissist does, sorry, is they rely on this trauma bonding that they've created with the victim. And it's absolutely terrible to do this. But so what happens is they've beaten the victim down, and it's an asymmetrical power dynamic in this relationship. So the narcissist or cluster B personality disordered person holds the most power in this scenario, and they've beaten you down over and over again. They've devalued you to the point where you feel like you can't escape the relationship. You feel an imminent threat to your life or to your personal identity or something along those lines. And so the narcissist is the perpetrator in this scenario, but they are also the savior in this scenario because they show you some small, intermittent, disingenuous act of kindness to try to pull you back out of the pain that they've caused you. So it's this sick, highly emotionally charged, chaotic relationship that they have caused you to go through all this pain. And that's very briefly about trauma bonding, the way that I understand it. So that's not necessarily academic. So with the hoovering, so they rely on this trauma bonding that they've created. And so the narcissist, it's like I said before with the small act of kindness, it's important to realize that abusers don't abuse every day. And so they're going to rely on some of these positive moments that's going to try to pull you back into the relationship. So hoovering can also happen before you leave the relationship. So maybe you've set some kind of boundary with a narcissist or cluster B person, and they don't like this boundary, and you've started to learn how to say no or something along those lines. And the narcissist is trying to pull you back in to the relationship once again. So the narcissist hoovers because their ego has been injured or because they've run out of supply in their general vicinity, like I said before. Maybe they're trying to gain back some sort of control over you in this scenario because we've been pushed in this submissive state with the trauma bonding, you know. And if you start to set a boundary, they're not going to like that very much. So the easiest way I can describe hoovering, it's what a crocodile does when it's trying to save food for another time. So what a crocodile does is obviously it kills its prey, and then it takes this food and it hides it and it burrows it under rocks. And then after a certain period of time, it comes back later to eat it. So we are not the fresh love bombing kill anymore, right? We are the food that's been rotting and hiding under rocks for all this time. And now all of a sudden we're being recycled as a source of supply again. It's really sick, but that's the best way I think I can describe it. And I can't remember where I saw that online because I saw it years ago when I was trying to learn about what I was dealing with personally, and I came across hoovering, and I saw an article or something like that online, and I can't find it for the life of me. So if any of you find out where I can credit that to, let me know. But some things that the narcissist can do when they are trying to hoover you, they may apologize, like, oh my God, I've had this epiphany. I can't believe I ever treated you that way. I'm so sorry that I treated you this way. You were correct the whole time. I've seen the error of my ways. What can I do to change? Type of apology. Or they may victimize themselves. Like, I've been dealing with all of this family drama. My dad abandoned me as a child. This is why I treat people this way. I've been having a really hard time, blah, 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 blah. But you know what? Abandonment is never a justification for being abusive, ever. So that's kind of a crapshoot, kind of a way to hoover someone back in. It's just, you got to be smarter and pick up on these types of things. Especially victimization drives me crazy. This next one drives me even crazier. They may chalk it up to be a personality trait. So they'll say, I'm not negative. So what they're going to do is they're going to gaslight you in this. This is your perception. Your perception is incorrect. I am not abusing you. I am not angry. I am, as they're angrily saying, I'm not angry, type of situation. I'm not abusing you. I'm not angry. This is just my personality. This is just my personality. This is just who I am, right? That's not a personality trait. That's a character flaw. And so it's important to remember that. Another example of what they might do. So these aren't going to be all of the examples of what a narcissist could do, because there are got to be thousands to a bajillion of them. But they may use celebratory tactics, like remember all the good times we had. I've had a promotion at work. Let's go celebrate. I just got engaged. I just got married. Let's go celebrate, type of a thing. So they'll try to pull you back in using, or maybe they'll pull you back in trying to reminisce over the good times that you've had in the past, So that's very briefly my video on hoovering and trauma bonding. I hope it was interesting, and I very much hope it was helpful for you guys. One last thing. A smear campaign is also another form of hoovering. So it can be the overt or covert smear campaign. Once again, this isn't academic. This is just what I call it to my friends and family. So my family that knows that I do this. So an overt smear campaign would just be terrible sabotage, just to everyone, to the general public, to your mutual friends groups, they're just going to demolish your character. A covert smear campaign is more subtle. So it's going to be out of pity, for example. It could be out of pity, like, oh my gosh, I feel so sorry for this person, the person that they're trying to sabotage. Feel so sorry for this person. They really don't have a good head on their shoulders. They're not doing well at work. Their life is kind of falling apart. We should feel sorry for them. I don't know what I can do to help them anymore, type of a thing. So that's a covert smear campaign, in my opinion. Because that does exist too, I think. So anyway, so it's important to remember, again, I want to reiterate, abusers don't abuse every day. Typically, they do not abuse every day. So it's going to be confusing, and there's going to be some positive moments to lean back on and to remember, but that just drives the nail further in your coffin here, in the abusive relationship. And remembering that the trauma bonding is such an emotionally charged thing that it's almost like our subconscious doesn't want us to leave the relationship, either out of fight or flight or the imminent fear of something, right? So subconsciously we might interpret it that way, or we're going to think back like, oh, well, maybe they've changed because there have been some good times in the past that I can remember. And don't let your brain do that to you, dude. Just don't let your brain do that to you. It's just, you're just asking for more trouble in this scenario. The person probably didn't have an epiphany. They're probably still terrible. And so it's best to not interact. With this smear campaign, I know how hard it is to not respond. Trust me, I get it. It's so difficult to not interact and to not respond, but trust me, I can relate to you. You need to not respond. It just gets uglier. It just gets worse and worse and worse. And the more you try to explain yourself and the more you try to fix the scenario, the person's going to purposely misinterpret what you're saying and further feed the smear campaign. So just don't respond. Just let it go. Just move on, Anyway, guys, I hope this video was interesting. I hope you guys learned something cool today. And, Spud's doing better. So, all right, guys. Thanks for your time.